श्री महाभारत कथा।
श्री महाभारत कथा।
महाभारत कथा। कथा है पुरुषार्थ की, ये स्वार्थ की, परमार्थ की, सारथी जिसके बने श्री कृष्ण भारत पार्थ की। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ जब सत्य सार्थक सर्वथा। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत, अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य, तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्, परित्राणाय साधूनां, विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे।
And one day when he was engaged in the Agnihotra, fire sacrifice, I made a mock snake of blades of grass, and in a frolic attempted to frighten him with it. Nin, a, on, elm, worry. O pious one, when Ru the pure son of Pramati will appear, thou shalt be delivered from the curse the moment thou seest him. O thou first of created beings, verily the highest virtue of man is sparing the life of others. Therefore, a Brahmana should never take the life of any creature. To be stern, to wield the scepter, and to rule the subjects properly are the duties of the Kshatriya. Listen, O Ruru, to the account of the destruction of snakes at the sacrifice of Janamejaya in days of yore, and the deliverance of the terrified reptiles by that best of Dwyas, Astika, profound in Vedic lore and might in spiritual energy. Ruru then asked, O best of Dwyas, why was King Janamejaya bent upon destroying the serpents? And why and how were they saved by the wise Astika? I am anxious to hear all this in detail. The Rishi replied, O Ru, the important history of Astika you will learn from the lips of Brahmanas. Saying this, he vanished. Sati continued. Ru ran about in search of the missing Rishi, and having failed to find him in all the woods, fell down on the ground, fatigued. In Memobain. And revolving in his mind the words of the Rishi, he was greatly confounded, and seemed to be deprived of his senses. Regaining consciousness, he came home, and asked his father to relate the history in question. Thus asked, his father related all about the story. Saunaka said, For what reason did that tiger among kings, the royal Janamejaya, determine to take the lives of the snakes by means of a sacrifice? O Sati, tell us in full the true story. Sati said, O best of speakers, this story of Astika is long. I will duly relate it in full. O listen. That foremost one among the Yayavaras, virtuous and of rigid vows, highly blessed and endued with great ascetic power, once undertook a journey over the world. Thus going about like a blazing fire, one day he happened to see his ancestors, hanging heads down in a great hole, their feet pointing upwards. On seeing them, Jaratkaru addressed them, saying, Who are you thus hanging heads down in this hole by a rope of Virana fibers, that is again secretly eaten into, on all sides by a rat living here? We are rishis of rigid vows, called Yayavaras. We are sinking low into the earth for want of offspring. We have a son named Jaratkaru. Woe to us! That wretch hath entered upon a life of austerities only. Ye are even my sires and grandsires. I am that Jaratkaru. Oh, tell me how I may serve you. Try thy best, O child, to beget a son to extend our line. Thou wilt then, O excellent one, have done a meritorious art for both thyself and us. Not by the fruits of virtue, not by ascetic penances well hoarded up, acquireth the merit which one doth by becoming a father. Jaratkaru replied, I shall not marry for my sake, nor shall I earn wealth for enjoyment, but I shall do so for your welfare only. If a bride may be had of the same name with me, whose friends would, besides, willingly give her to me as a gift in charity, I shall wed her duly. Upon her I will raise offspring for your redemption, so that ye fathers, ye may attain to eternal regions of bliss, and may rejoice as ye like. That Brahmana of rigid vows then wandered over the earth for a wife, but a wife found he not. One day he went into the forest, and recollecting the words of his ancestors, he thrice prayed in a faint voice for a bride. The high-souled Jaratkaru thought within himself, I will take none for wife who is not of the same name with myself. Then that rishi of great wisdom and austere penances asked him, saying, Tell me truly what is the name of this thy sister, O snake? Vasuki replied, O Jaratkaru, this my younger sister is called Jaratkaru. Vasuki rose and offered his sister for the rishi's acceptance, but the Brahmana hesitated to accept her, thinking her not to be of the same name with himself. Saying this, he offered his beautiful sister to Jaratkaru, who then espoused her with ordained rites. The rishi wedded her according to the rites ordained in the scriptures, and from them was born a high-souled son called Astika. An illustrious ascetic, versed in the Vedas and their branches, he regarded all with an even eye and removed the fears of both his parents. After that sacrifice had commenced for the destruction of the snakes, Astika delivered the Nagas, viz., his brothers and maternal uncles and other snakes, from a fiery death. The rishi wedded her according to the rites ordained in the scriptures, and from them was born a high-souled son called Astika. An illustrious ascetic, versed in the Vedas and their branches, he regarded all with an even eye and removed the fears of both his parents. By sacrifices, at which various kinds of offerings were made, he propitiated the gods. Thus Jaratkaru of rigid vows discharged the heavy debt he owed to his sires, who being thus relieved from bondage ascended to heaven. Sanaka said, O Sati, relate once more in detail this history of the learned and virtuous Astika. Our curiosity for hearing it is great. O Brahmana, in the golden age, Prajapati had 2 daughters. O sinless one, the sisters were endowed with wonderful beauty. Named Kadru and Vinata, they became the wives of Kasyapa. Kasyapa derived great pleasure from his 2 wedded wives, and being gratified he, resembling Prajapati himself, offered to give each of them a boon. Kadru wished to have for sons 1,000 snakes, all of equal splendor. And Vinata wished to bring forth 2 sons surpassing the 1,000 offsprings of Kadru in strength, energy, size of body, and prowess. Bear the embryos carefully, said Kasyapa, and then he went into the forest, leaving his 2 wives pleased with his blessings. Their maidservants deposited the eggs separately in warm vessels. 500 years passed away, and the 1,000 eggs produced by Kadru burst, and out came the progeny. Hinata was jealous, and therefore she broke one of the eggs and found in it an embryo with the upper part developed, but the lower one undeveloped. At this, the child in the egg became angry and cursed his mother, saying, "Since thou hast prematurely broken this egg, thou shalt serve as a slave." Thus cursing his mother, the child rose to the sky. Then at the expiration of the 500 years, bursting open the other egg, out came Garuda, the serpent eater. O tiger of Brigu's race, immediately on seeing the light, that son of Vinata left his mother. And the Lord of Birds, feeling hungry, took wing in quest of the food assigned to him by the great ordainer of all.
सीख हम बीते युगों से नए युग का करे स्वागत करे स्वागत करे स्वागत करे स्वागत
भारत की